High-calorie foods such as rice, pasta, potatoes, bread, all of these are affordable, convenient, and comfort foods that are the backbone of most of our diet nowadays. But eating these high-carb foods may cause blood sugar spikes, sending the blood sugar in a roller coaster ride all day long, certainly not ideal for long-term health. It gets worse when you are pre-diabetic or diabetic. As a diabetic, having frequent increases in your blood sugar can lead to heart disease, kidney damage, vision problems, and nerve conditions such as neuropathy. In a 2015 study published in the International Journal of Endocrinology, the research clearly demonstrated that repetitive blood sugar spikes were associated with a decreased survival rate in mice. Also, a 2020 research revealed that long-term repetitive glucose spikes may be an important factor of cardiovascular disease in diabetic patients. Glucose comes from the food we eat and gives our body energy. Our pancreas makes a hormone called insulin. Insulin helps our cells use glucose from our blood, so our blood sugar stays stable. But in diabetes, the pancreas can't make insulin or the cells become resistant to this vital hormone. Consequently, glucose remains within the bloodstream, keeping blood sugar levels consistently high. An increase in blood sugar level, 180 milligrams per deciliter or higher, should be considered as high blood sugar. A blood sugar spike happens when your blood sugar goes up and then quickly drops after you eat something. Ideally, we need to prevent such spikes from happening and keep our blood sugar level within 70 to 140 milligrams per deciliter range. The good news is, blood sugar spike is preventable. Let's take a look of 6 evidence-based strategies that will help prevent blood sugar spikes without sacrificing carbs. Number 1. Increase the consumption of complex carbs. According to the registered dietitian Victoria Whittington, eating foods with simple carbs like white bread, sugar, and some cereals can make your blood sugar go up quickly because they get digested fast. On the other hand, complex carbs take longer to digest, so they don't make your blood sugar spike as much. Moreover, complex carbs have fiber, vitamins, and minerals. The Centers of Disease Control, CDC, suggests to consume fiber-rich foods, soluble fiber that dissolves in water and turns into a jelly-like substance in your tummy. It's good for keeping your blood sugar and cholesterol in check. You can find soluble fiber in foods like apples, bananas, oats, peas, black beans, lima beans, Brussels sprouts, and avocados. On the other hand, insoluble fiber helps your body use insulin better and keeps your digestion on track. You can find insoluble fiber in things like whole wheat flour, bran, nuts like almonds, seeds, and the peels of lots of fruits and veggies. Cinnamon is a powerful source of insoluble fiber that show effective result on lowering blood sugar spikes. Moreover, whole grains are a type of complex carb, contain polyphenols, which can make it easier for your body to reverse insulin resistance. Quinoa, oats, brown rice, millet, farro, buckwheat are best whole grain items for diabetic. Some pulses like beans and lentils should be added to your diet, such as chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, cannellini beans, and pinto beans. According to health.com, starchy vegetables such as sweet potatoes, butternut squash, beets, acorn squash, delicata squash, and parsnips are healthy complex carbs. To reduce blood sugar spikes, consume fruits such as blueberries, oranges, strawberries, avocados, and grapefruit play beneficial role to prevent blood sugar spikes. The health.gov recommends daily intake a minimum of 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories, and Mayo Clinic recommends that for women, it is ideal to have around 21 to 25 grams of fiber every day, and men should aim for about 30 to 38 grams daily. To maintain and track your daily fiber intake, you can use mobile apps such as MyFitnessPal. Number 2, minimize the consumption of high glycemic index foods. The glycemic index is a score of how quickly a food raises your blood sugar level when it is eaten. The lower the score, the less it affects the rise in glucose levels. What the glycemic index tells us is that eating foods with a high glycemic index, such as white bread, cornflakes, white rice, soda, or beer, is similar to consuming pure sugar. If most of your meals throughout the day consist of high glycemic index foods, let's say, you have cornflakes with milk for breakfast, French fries and a sandwich for lunch, and white rice with mashed potatoes for dinner, Your blood sugar levels throughout the entire day could like a roller coaster ride. To provide an example, starting your day with an omelet with green vegetables. Make a sandwich with tomatoes, lettuces, and avocados for lunch. Eat brown rice with boiled sweet potatoes for dinner could effectively lower your blood sugar levels throughout the day. Avoid foods that score 70 or higher, and as a beginner, consume foods that have glycemic index score of less than 60 to lower blood sugar spikes. In a clinical trial published by the National Institutes of Health, scientists randomly selected 54 adults and children with impaired glucose tolerance, type 1 diabetes, and type 2 diabetes to investigate the impact of a low glycemic index diet on blood glucose control. The study revealed that low glycemic index diet was effective in reducing glycated hemoglobin level, fasting glucose levels, body mass index, BMI, and LDL, bad cholesterol. There are numerous mobile apps that can assist you in searching, calculating, and displaying the glycemic index score. Glycemic Index Load Net Carbs and Glycemic Index and Load Tracker are two notable options. If you would like to learn more about the GI scores of common foods, you can find some useful links in the description below. Number 3. Add resistant starch. Starchy foods like potatoes, rice, or pasta, when cooked and consumed immediately, their starch is rapidly broken down into glucose by our digestive enzymes. As a result, a significant amount of glucose quickly enters our bloodstream, leading to a substantial rise in blood sugar levels. However, if you cook any starchy foods and then cool them overnight, ideally in fridge, some of the starch undergoes a transformation into a different structure, commonly known as resistant starch. It's termed as resistant starch because it resists digestion. Our digestive enzymes are incapable of breaking it down, thus trapping glucose within the starch, and therefore it prevents an increase in our blood sugar levels. The glycemic index of starchy foods that have been cooked and cooled can be up to 20 to 40% lower than the same foods consumed immediately after cooking. In a clinical study conducted in 2022, to assess the impact of rice cooling on resistant starch and glycemic response, scientists tested white rice that had been cooked and then cooled for 24 hours at 4 degrees Celsius. Their findings revealed that cooled white rice exhibited an increased resistant starch content and produced lower glycemic responses compared to freshly cooked white rice. Number 4. Make smart food pairings. Dr. Mario Kratz, PhD in nutrition and conducting over 25 years of clinical nutrition research. He suggested to maintain the right balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats in your meals and snacks. Research shows that adding proteins and healthy fats, such as fiber, to your high-carb meals significantly reduces the blood sugar response. For example, when you eat white bread with jam or cornflakes with milk, the blood sugar response instantly spikes after consumption, because these foods only contain carbohydrates, and Dr. Mario refers them as naked carbs. When planning a meal with high-carb foods like white rice, bread, potatoes, or oatmeal, it's beneficial to consider incorporating a protein source. The higher glycemic index food is, the more important it is to add proteins and fat sources to balance out the blood sugar response. Options like meat, fish, shellfish, egg, Greek yogurt, beans, lentils, and tofu make excellent choices, and most of them also provide healthy fats. You can also think about adding sources of fat such as nuts, seeds, avocados, and olive oil. According to Dr. Mario, eating a combination of proteins, healthy fats, and fiber-rich vegetables with high-carb foods in a single meal can help lower blood sugar response. The doctor found it impractical to consume protein and fat separately before having a high-carb meal, so he suggests to mix them all together in a single meal. To put this in perspective, suppose you want to follow a diet called 40-30-30, meaning you want to consume 40% from carbohydrate, 30% from protein, and 30% from fat. To calculate in calories, 1 gram of carbohydrate equals 4 calories, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. For instance, you want to eat 2,000 calories a day composed of 40% carbohydrates, 30% proteins, and 30% fats. 40% of 2,000 calories is 800, since there are 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates. We are going to divide that number 800 by 4, which is equal to 200 grams of carbohydrates. For proteins, we are going to do the same. 30% of 2,000 is 600, which it divided by 4, which is equal to 150 grams of proteins. For healthy fats, the calculation will be 30% of 2,000 is 600, which is divided by 9 calories, which is equal to 67 grams of fats. Look at this table. You will find the all-calculated results here. You can download this chart, link in the description below. The example of 40-30-30 diet breakfasts are omelet with spinach, tomatoes, and feta cheese, or toast with peanut butter and banana, or scrambled eggs with avocados and salsa are great options. For lunch, you can try a sandwich with lean protein, such as turkey or ham, and lots of vegetables, or a quinoa bowl with grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, and feta cheese, or a wrap with grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, and hummus are great options. For dinner, you could prefer turkey, rice, and squash, or grilled salmon, roasted white potatoes, steamed broccoli, and grilled fennel, or grilled chicken, fish, salad, brown rice, or quinoa are great options. So, these are some examples of smart food pairings. You can customize them according to your preference. Make sure to calculate them correctly and pick balanced meal to prevent blood sugar spikes. Number 5. Add vinegar to your meal or drink. According to Dr. Eric Berg, adding vinegar to your rice can reduce the glycemic index by 35%. Similarly, adding vinegar to baked potatoes inside salad dressing can reduce the glycemic index by 43%. Dr. Berg has suggested that if you have a history of insulin resistance, such as your liver generating sugar even though you don't consume sugar, this process called gluconeogenesis. You are often concerned about morning blood sugar spikes, and you should take 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar before bedtime. Also, dilute the vinegar in 8 to 10 ounces of water. If you wish to include vinegar in your meal's time, it's recommended to drink it 20 minutes before each meal. Additionally, you can incorporate vinegar into your diet by using it in salad dressings, glazing vegetables, soups and stews, marinating meats, mixing it with lemon juice, mint juice, and various other options. Drink diluted vinegar using a straw to safeguard your teeth from acid exposure that can harm your enamel. Be cautious not to exceed 3 to 4 tablespoons of vinegar daily, as excessive consumption may lead to adverse health effects. To adapt with the strong taste, start with just 1 teaspoon of vinegar in a glass of water, and gradually add 1 tablespoon as you get used to the taste. Number 6. Engage in physical activities after meal. When you exercise right after eating, it can help keep your blood sugar in check. That's because any extra sugar not used by your body can be put to good use by your muscles during your workout. Exercise also shifts blood flow towards the active muscles and lungs, which means your body absorbs sugar from food slowly. If you've taken insulin before eating, exercise will make the insulin work faster. You don't need to do a lot of exercise to lower your blood sugar after eating. A 2013 study found that just 15 minutes of walking after meals can really help control your blood sugar for a whole day. Surprisingly, a short walk right after eating was even better at reducing blood sugar than a longer 45-minute walk later on. Some simple tips to start moving after a meal. Try not to stay seated for extended periods after your meal. Avoid reading, watching TV, or working desk job immediately after eating. Use standing desk for working after meal. Go for a light walk for 15 minutes. Do some household chores. Do 2 sets of stair climbing after meal. So, these are the top 6 most effective tips to prevent blood sugar spikes. To summarize all 6, focus more on complex carbs, avoid high glycemic index foods, add some resistant starch, choose smart food pairings, add vinegar to high-carb meals, and start moving after a meal. So, follow these evidence-based strategies and you can say goodbye to blood sugar spikes.